What's up everyone, my name is Alpha and today we're back with another Pokemon challenge video. Today we're on Pokemon Alpha Sapphire and today's challenge will be can I beat Pokemon Alpha Sapphire Hardcore Nuzlocke using only blue shiny Pokemon. Now we tried this in the past, not successfully, but we've tried these monocolored shiny Hardcore Nuzlockes before. That's a mouthful. I'm just gonna say these types of videos before. It wasn't super successful, but I'll try it again. You know what? Never ever give up on the first attempt. You gotta give up on the second or third. Anyways, today's video we're going to focus on all the blue shinies in the game, which I have to manually go through and search them up individually. Every Pokemon available to us in the home Pokedex I have to search up to see if they have possibly a blue shiny. We found a handful of Pokemon and we're going to try to beat the game using only those type of Pokemon. So on screen are the rules for this challenge video. Pause it, you guys need to read it, and as well the most important rule that's not stated: each of my Pokemon will be nicknamed after you guys in the comments. So thank you so much for leaving a comment in the previous challenge video. If you guys want to be nicknamed after a future Pokemon in my future challenge video, just drop it in the comments and hopefully I'll pick yours. I get really good at that line, I just did it in one breath. If you guys can, please leave a like on this video, it will really help me out. Let's reach up to 500 likes, it would mean a lot to me if you guys can do that, and subscribe so I know you guys do like this video and do like this type of content. Anyways, let's get into the challenge video itself. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Anyways, let's get into it. We're gonna actually shiny hunt a Trico. Now you might be wondering, Trico is not actually a blue shiny form Pokemon. Well, his evolution is teal, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But we are just gonna shiny hunt for a Trico now because we can't do it later. So we're just gonna shiny hunt for him. We won't use him when we get our actual first Pokemon, which our first Pokemon will be a Ralts. Ralts is blue, as you see from the top of his head. And we could evolve it into either forms, Gallade or Gardevoir, because both of them stays within the same color scheme, color range. They're still blue in the face. So essentially we could just catch this Ralts, add it to our team, and in this game and in the updated version of Pokemon, Ralts is not completely useless. It can learn Confusion at level 4, so we should be fine. As we head into the first gym of the game, we're going to face off against Roxanne, which is going to be the rock type gym leader of the game. Normally this battle isn't too difficult, but I need to guarantee myself a win after this because it's my only Pokemon on my team technically. So I need to double team 3 times in front of the Geodude so I'm able to two-shot him to knock him out. Because if the Geodude or the Nosepass continue to hit me with a rock tomb, I'm gonna go down. So I made sure I put an Oranberry on my Ralts in the first place, and I'm able to Confusion down the Nosepass, and eventually I am able to Confusion it down and knock him out. As Nosepass is got me really low actually. I take it back, actually hit me one more time. But we end up beating Roxanne and we get our first gym badge of the game, which is very nice. From there's not much for us to do. There's no other blue shiny Pokemon for us to get. I mean, we're on Alpha Sapphire, so there's certain Pokemon we actually want to get with this version of the game, but there's none for us right now. So we're just gonna make our way all the way to Dewford Island and face off against the second gym of the game. We're gonna face off against Brawley next. Brawley is gonna be the fighting type gym leader of the game, and we're gonna start the battle off against him using my only Pokemon, Ralts. Ralts is easily gonna beat down Brawley, as you can see, one-shotting down the Machop and then two-shotting down the Makuhita. Actually just one-shotting it down apparently because it healed up and just died. And we're able to beat down Brawley pretty easily. We get our second gym match of the game, and nothing too difficult, as we're finally able to go out in Slateport City in Route 110, and we're able to find ourselves our next shiny Pokemon, which is going to be a multiple options in Route 110. There's a Gulpin, which I don't really want, Electrite, which is the most normal encounter, or a Voltorb, which I wouldn't mind. Unfortunately, we did get an Electrite, and I only said unfortunately because it's a great Pokemon. It actually has a great ability in Lightning Rod, which will help us in a little bit. But unfortunately, it's only blue when it's an Electrite, and when it evolves to an Electrite, it turns into black and yellow. So unfortunately, we can't evolve the Electrite. So we're just going to have to use it in the early games, and we might have to drop it off later. But that is much later, as we're going to head into Route 114, I think. Don't quote me on that, but the route west of Malwa City, we're gonna find ourselves our next shiny Pokemon, which is going to be a shiny Volbeat. Blue shiny, pretty cool. You guys know how much I like Volbeats because it has Tail Glow and it's such a broken move. And unfortunately, I almost knock him out in one shot using a Spark for my Electrite. But luckily enough, we do catch the Volbeat and we add it to our team without any issues. And we can move on and face off against our third gym leader, which is going to be Watson. Watson is going to be the electric type gym leader of the game, and he's going to start the battle off against us using a Magnemite, which unfortunately for Watson, I am completely resistant of any electric move because I have Lightning Rod as an ability, so I'm able to absorb up the Magnemite easily and also charge beam into him consistently to get an attack boost up against him, which I do get probably up to +4 at this point. and I want to conserve my PP against the Voltorb, so I'm going to hit him with a Spark at the end of this just to make sure I conserve PP for Watson's ace Pokemon, which is going to be a Magneton. Now with this Magneton, I almost 3-shot pretty easily, as you can see. I just need to hit one more move against him. Unfortunately, he goes for a Supersonic. It gets me confused, and he Magnet Bombs the same time as well. And unfortunately, I keep hitting myself in confusion. I activate my Oran Berry, but it still hits myself in confusion. So I have to switch out my Electrite into my other Pokemon, which is going to be my Volbeat, which luckily enough, Volbeat's able to knock out the Magneton for us, but it's just quite annoying, I'm not gonna lie. We could have easily beat that with just Electrite, but it's fine. As we move out into the fiery path where we can find ourselves our next shiny Pokemon, our next shiny Pokemon in here will be a Coughing. Is this blue? I feel like this is sort of a blue. I'm on the border at this point. What is blue and what is not? I might be colorblind, but we're gonna catch ourselves a Coughing because you guys can't tell me what to do on my own video. I'm gonna capture the Coughing and move out into Meteor Falls, where we find ourselves our next shiny Pokemon, which is gonna be very cool in a Lunatone. But unfortunately, even though we found a very cool Pokemon that I was excited to use, doesn't mean I'm guaranteed to get it, as I'm using up all 9 Pokeballs against the Lunatone, and unfortunately I am unable to capture the Lunatone, and this Lunatone got away from me 4 different times. It started shaking, and then it got so close to capturing, and then it popped out. So difficult. This Lunatone is so annoying. But after that, we can move on into the next gym of the game. We're going to face off against Flannery next. Flannery is going to be the fire type gym leader of the game, and we're going to start the battle off against her using my Curlia. Curlia actually learned a new move in Calm Mind, which I could just set up Calm Minds in front of the Slugma, as even though it has overheat and it's in the sun, it's going to do relatively no damage to my Curlia at all, as you can see, and it's going to keep lowering its special attack as I just keep boosting up. So eventually I am at +6 special attack and special defense, where I'm able to one-shot the Slugma, one-shot the Torkoal, and also finally one-shot the Numel to get our 4th gym badge of the game. Super simple. As we move out into the desert, which I feel very bad for doing this, but we went out and captured ourselves, well, shiny hunted for a Trapinch, which would turn into a blue Flygon, which I was excited to use. But I don't know if this counted as a blue. Is this Trapinch blue? I didn't want to use it because I don't know, it was teetering on not really blue or not, so I just kind of left it. And I didn't use it at all in this entire run. I was excited to use Flygon, but Flygon is all the way. I have to get to the 7th gym with basically 5 Pokemon, and eventually I just dropped it off, and I just didn't use Trapinch ever again, so I'm sorry for that. But anyways, we can go out into the next gym of the game. We're going to face out against Norman next. Norman is going to be the Normal type gym leader of the game, and we start the battle off against him using my Gardevoir, trying to set up and sweep him. Fortunately, he goes for a Yawn, so I can't really do that, so I got to switch out into my Electrite. Fortunately, doesn't have Intimidate, but I'm going to switch back into my Gardevoir to just Psychic 1-shot down to Slacking, which is crazy, and then 2-shot down to Vigoroth, which unfortunately I take a hefty amount of damage from the Retaliate. I'm able to knock him out eventually, but that was pretty bad. But from there, I could switch out into my Coughing to take any Retaliate from the Slacking, and luckily enough, I do live an attack. I'm able to Sludge him and also poison him, and I switch around into he gets a little lower. He does a lot of damage to my Pokemon. That is not an understatement. But eventually I'm gonna land on my Electrite, take a lot of damage from the Slacking, but lucky enough I am able to survive against him, and lucky enough it hits itself in confusion. I should have went for a quick attack. I thought it's going to heal up, but I miscalculated. Electric doesn't go down, and we beat Norman. We get the 5th gym badge of the game, and we can move on. And since we have access to Surf now, we can go out into New Malville. And in here, we're able to find ourselves our next shiny Pokemon, which is going to be a shiny Voltorb, which is going to be very obviously blue. And we're going to add that to our team. As we also move out and catch ourselves a shiny Kecleon with a little blue stripe instead of a red stripe. That counts as a blue Pokemon. So we're going to add these 2 Pokemon onto our team and then move out and face off against Winona next. Winona is going to be the 6th gym leader of the game, and we're going to start the battle off against her with our newly equipped Electrode. I don't think I ever used Electrode in my life, but I'm able to just one-shot down the Swallow, which is crazy. The Altaria comes on next. I know this thing is packing Earthquake, so I'm not going to try to mess with it. I go for a Sludge Bomb twice against the Altaria. Eventually, it does poison it down, and I'm able to switch out into my Gardevoir, which will handle down the Altaria for us. Obviously, 2-shot down the Altaria with Psychic, and that should be game. As I switch out my Gardevoir for my Electrode, which will handle down the Starmie pretty easily. Even though it gets hit multiple times from him, I am able to knock him out easily, and her final opponent will be a Pelipper, which is 4 times weak to obviously my electric type moves. So we end up beating Winona pretty easily, And through multiple evolutions, our Pokemon got better. We got a Weezing from one after that, and we also evolved our Grovyle finally into a Sceptile, which is going to be a teal looking color, but teal is basically blue, which I'm going to argue this is blue because I've been looking at it for a little bit now. It looks more greenish, but I think it's blue. I'm going to call it blue from now on. So from there, we're going to face off against the next gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against the 7th gym leader in the game. We're going to face off against Tate and Eliza with our newly equipped Sapphire and also my Kecleon. And unfortunately for Tate and Eliza, I am able to just Leaf Blade into the Lunatone to knock him out in one shot completely. And also the Solrock has no business doing anything because I'm able to one-shot it as well. Well, two-shot it, but one-shot it if I really just use my Sceptile. So I am able to beat Tate and Eliza up. And from there, we can face off against Archie in this super battle fight. Apparently, Mega Sceptile is really good if you guys do not know that. Mega Sceptile one-shots down the Mightyena, nothing too crazy. One-shots down the Muck, which is nothing crazy. Crobat comes out, I'm just like, I guess I have no options here. Do chop him, ends up one-shotting him as well. And finally, his Mega Sharpedo gets one-shotted and outspeeded by my Sceptile. And yeah, Mega Sceptile is pretty broken. Now speaking of that, Mega Sceptile is broken. It is very broken. As we face off against Primal Kyogre, and all we gotta do is Mega up and then just Leaf Blade and Kyogre goes down. Yeah, that was so simple. I'm just saying, VGC pros, you gotta hit up Mega Sceptile. That is the answer to all Primals. Every single Pokemon, every single counter, it's Mega Sceptile. But anyways, from there we could face off against this 8th gym leader in the game. We'll start the battle off against the 8th gym leader of the game, Wallace, using my Electro to Electro Ball and knock out the Loveless. From then he's gonna switch out into his Wishcast, which I go out into my Grass Pokemon, which is gonna be Sceptile. He's gonna Leaf Blade and knock out the Wishcast for us pretty easily. And then his Milotic comes out next, which I should have just stayed in and Mega up. If I could knock down the Kyogre in one shot, I could knock down the Milotic pretty easily. But I go out into my Electro to take hefty amounts of damage and do no damage in return. So I decided to go back out into my Sceptile, Mega up, and then finally knock out the Milotic. And then the rest of the battle is a bit of formality as I'm able to just knock out the rest of his team pretty easily with Leaf Blade. And we acquired the 8th gym badge of the game as we just slaughtered down Wallace's team with my Mega Sceptile. From there, we're going to move out into a victory road where we're just claiming a house. Again, with our Mega Sceptile. Okay, I'm going to argue this. It's definitely blue, okay? I threw away Flygon for this thing. I'm going to use this Sceptile. Even if you guys don't like it, it's blue to me. From then, we're going to move out into the Elite Four. We're going to start our Elite Four challenge off against Sydney, which is going to be a Dark type Elite Four member. And we're going to start the battle off against him using my Volbeat to just Tail Glow in front of him. We haven't used Volbeat in a hot minute, but he's still on our team. As we're able to Tail Glow up and then Bug Buzz this entire team. Mighty Mana goes down, Absol goes down. His Shift Tree comes out. It was a mistake, obviously. He then goes out to a Sharpedo. It goes down, and his final Pokemon will be a Cacturne, which gets turned around and we get sent home. We beat Sydney in like 7 turns, I'm not going to lie. From there, we're going to move out and face off against Feed Me next, which is going to be the second hardest Elite Four member, in my opinion. We're going to start the battle off against her using my Electro to get something going with Charge Beam. Of course, I don't get a boost here, so I'm forced to actually switch out into my Weezing to eventually knock out the Dusclops, but I think I need to switch out into my actual Kecleon, because Kecleon has the Ghost move, the Dark move, all that moves. Knock out the Bayonet for us as the Sableye comes out next, which does a lot of damage to both my Kecleon and also my Weezing apparently. But eventually I am able to just switch out into my Volbeat to get a Bug Buzz off against him to knock him out, which is pretty nice. The next Pokemon will be a Dusknoir, which I know I can't really handle by myself. So I decided to go out into my Mega Sceptile, which will take a Fire Punch, which is nice. I Mega up in front of him and I go for a Leaf Blade. He goes for another Fire Punch. Luckily he doesn't go for an Ice Punch, as I'm able to knock him out with a Leaf Blade. And his final Pokemon will be another Bayonet, which gets one-shotted, and we end up beating Phoebe pretty easily. From then, we're going to face off against the next Elite Four member of the game. We're going to face off against Glacier next. Glacier is going to be the Ice type Elite Four member of the game, and it's quite difficult. Again, I'm trying to go up and try to get a boost up against the Glalie. As you can see, it's getting some work done. I eventually will actually knock out the Glalie as I get a few boosts up against him, and then her next Pokemon will be a Frostlass, which I'm under the impression I can one-shot it. I go for a Discharge, I miss it because of Snow Veil, and then it goes for a Blizzard. I live it, but the Hail knocks me out, so that's very bittersweet as my Electrode goes down, and I was excited to sweep with him. Unfortunately, that would not happen today as I go out into my Kecleon next. to trying to avenge him. It takes forever trying to avenge down the fallen teammate of the Electrode. This also ruined my flawless run, which is very annoying because I've been trying to hunt for flawless runs for so long. It's just not possible. I sent my Gardevoir to handle down the last Frostlass, as her next Pokemon will be her ace Pokemon, her Walrein, which misses Blizzard, so I'm able to just two-shot him, so knock him out pretty easily. Her next Pokemon will be a Glacier that also gets two-shotted, and we're able to beat down, and down goes Glacier, which is an annoying battle. We lost our Pokemon from this, so technically maybe that is the hardest fight. I take it back. So we're going to face off against the next Elite Four member of the game. We're going to face off against Drake next. Drake is going to be the Dragon type Elite Four member of the game, and I'm not going to try to lose any more Pokemon, so I'm going to start the battle off properly using my Gardevoir, which would just continuously Calm Mind in front of the Altaria, as it doesn't matter how much damage it does because I do have a move called Draining Kiss, which will actually knock out the Altaria in one shot pretty easily. And then the Flygon comes out, which gets one-shotted as well. The other Flygon comes out, it gets one-shotted. Kingdra comes out, it gets one-shotted. And his ace Pokemon, even though he's faster than me, he has no moves to handle me, as I'll knock him out with a Draining Kiss, and we end up beating Drake fairly easily. From then on, we can move on and face off against the champion of the game. We're going to face off against Steven Stones. Steven the Fossil Stones. He's going to start the battle off against us using Skarmory, which I go out into my Volbeat. Bad mistake, because he's part flying, as he's going to two-shot me, and that's pretty bad. So he ends up two-shotting down my Volbeat. I went for a boost-up Tail Glow, assuming he goes for a Toxic or Spikes. He did not go for that. So I go out to my Gardevoir next to Charge Beam into the Skarmory to knock him out. And then he sends out his Aggron, which pretty expected. It's a Steel type Pokemon. I go out into my Sceptile, which will intercept an Iron Tail to his face, which pretty dangerous. I am able to Earthquake him into low HP as he goes for an Iron Tail. I luckily survive it, and I'm able to just continuously Earthquake. Unfortunately, in the middle of me Earthquake, he switches out into a Claydol, which I was under the impression that if I one-shotted the Kyogre, I could one-shot the Claydol. Didn't work out. Claydol survives with a little bit of HP, and I go out to my Gardevoir. I was like, this nonsense is over. I need to Calm Mind in front of him right now. So Calm Mind 6 times in front of the Claydol, and eventually I am able to Draining Kiss and knock him out. His next Pokemon will be the low HP Aggron, which gets healed up all the way up, which is kind of annoying, but I do Draining Kiss up, and it almost one-shotted it, so no complaints here on my side. We eventually do knock out the Aggron, as his next Pokemon will be a Cradily, which I go for a Psychic to knock out in one shot. And his next Pokemon will be an Armaldo, which gets one-shotted by Draining Kiss. His final Pokemon will be a Mega Metagross, which we all know. I go for a Psychic here because I thought it's going to do the most. It did not do the most. He's going to Meteor Mash and knock out my poor Gardevoir. Go to my Kecleon next. I assume he's going to go for a Giga Impact, because why wouldn't he? So I switch out into my trusty and last other Pokemon, Weezing. Unfortunately, Weezing has not the best moves on his arsenal, but I get him down to lower HP. I switch back out into my Kecleon to take a Bullet Punch, and then I double back out into my Weezing to take the Giga Impact, and then I can finally go into my Kecleon to do a Shadow Claw. It does not do enough damage, but luckily enough, he misses his Giga Impact, and I'm able to knock out the Mega Metagross, and we barely survive another challenge. We went from perfect no deaths at all into what happened to my team in the span of like 10-15 minutes of beating Glacier and beating Steven Stone. All my Pokemon are gone, which is not a shocker because I'm really bad at the game. Our death counter goes up all the way to 5, which at the start of this Elite Four run we had 0, by the way, so that is pretty embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie, but at least we beat the challenge. That's all that matters. We beat the challenge, and that should be the end of the video. I want to say thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video. If you guys can, please leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me. It also shows me that you like the video and the content I'm producing. But anyways, thank you so much for all that. My name's been Alpha. Hope you guys all had a great day, and I am out. Peace.